Good morning or afternoon. Welcome to our webinar on CMiC Assist, your on-demand digital assistant. My name is Jeff Hollick, a product manager at CMiC and the main champion behind this product initiative. I'm based out of Canada and recently moved into downtown Toronto in a small condo, which has been my quarantine shelter for the last few months. Any move wouldn't be complete without a larger than expected trip to IKEA to buy some new furniture. One thing that jumped out to me was that no matter my best effort when assembling my investments, the pieces never seemed to fit together exactly as the instructions said, and I ended up having random pieces left over. I learned a valuable lesson here, and that sometimes even when something seems simple and may have clear instructions, it still doesn't always go as planned. The same can be said for software. That's why we created Assist. Today, I'll be covering a few topics relating to our initiative, starting with the product's mission, showing some functionality with a demo, sharing some feedback we've gotten so far, and what's to come in the future. Then we'll round off our presentation here with a short Q&A session at the end. CMiC Assist is a new suite of tools providing on-demand product support for all audiences. We released our first version of this in cloud as part of the 12.2 hotfix in November. We kept the release limited in order to run some experiments with a smaller audience before opening the floodgates. During this presentation, we will share some of the lessons learned and how we plan to continue to improve the service over the coming months. You can see there's three main components so far to the CMiC Assist. The first being the Messenger, which is a web-based, in-app, two-way communication tool. Our Mobile Assist, the counterpart to the web messenger, which allows users to report bugs and provide support for self-service and our field mobile apps. Lastly, these two initiatives are supported by a complete overhaul of our documentation portal. It's mobile friendly and acting as the main resource hub for all of our product information moving forward. The Messenger is currently only available for cloud. Mobile Assist is supported for both enterprise and cloud, and the doc portal is available to anyone, even your collaborators. One thing to note is our support portal isn't going anywhere. These new features will be in addition to our traditional cases as an alternative support tool, and that our session is also aimed at our cloud audience. Our webinars are always open to all users, and while the services with Assist were originally designed for cloud, we know enterprise users may have similar needs, and we recognize that there may be interest, and we are interested to package an enterprise version in the future. So please, if you see anything of interest, please reach out and we can see what we can roll out in the future. We knew that we needed a better way to help our users. I'm sure some of you may resonate with some of the quotes we have up on the left here. Some being that our wait times are too long. One customer quoted that we had less than average response times and there didn't feel like an urgency. We know that our support resources have been hard to find in the past, especially with large PDF manuals that make it hard to find specific information. And of course, our extensive implementation programs extremely valuable, but not always for different audiences. And of course, this is one that I resonate well with from our calls on the CMUG cloud, is surprise changes. We're always getting questions when something's going to be released, what patch is something on, and what happened to certain functionality. These are all initiatives we're looking to improve upon with this service, and that we've already witnessed a little bit of success in the 3 months that it's been out so far. From an on-demand support perspective, we've seen up to a 98% reduction in our average resolution time for simple requests. We've also coordinated with our new cloud ITIP, which stands for Implementation and Training Included program, to augment the experience and reduce the time to value by up to 66% by supporting the in-person training with on-demand resources. Time to value being the time it takes from you to sign a contract with CMiC and get it up and running. Our team's been hard at work here to listen to our audience, and initiatives like User Voice, CMUG, surveys, and our new customer success department have all helped us uncover these needs. One last thing I'd like to cover before jumping into functionality is that we totally understand this might not be for everyone. While a lot of the features showcased here will be available as standard functionality, everybody has the ability to opt out if they don't feel comfortable with live chat, with bot chat, or communicating through in-app messages. Our opt-out service is currently all or nothing for Messenger and Mobile Assist. If the Messenger is disabled, Doc Portal access will still be available. Another benefit to using CMiC Assist is that it allows us to better understand what parts of our system get the most traffic, how they're being used, and it ultimately helps us improve our services. For customers that prefer to still be the main point of contact for all users before escalating requests to CMiC support, please let us know, and we can easily disable these features for your tenant. The current support process is not changing in any way. We're just augmenting it and adding more ways to get faster support. If there's any additional questions or concerns, please leave a comment in our chat during the presentation here, or if something comes up later on while you're using the tool, please contact your account manager and they can provide more details. Now to dive into some functionality. The 3 core use cases can further be broken down, with the Messenger providing timely updates and notifications, product tips, general inquiries, and article recommendations. Mobile Assist also has the ability to automatically report crashes, helping our development team be proactive and ensure that the apps run as efficiently as possible at all times. It's also made bug reporting incredibly easy, and we'll show an example of this later on in the presentation. And it even has embedded chat capabilities as well. Our documentation portal is chock full of brand new multimedia assets. And all of these resources are indexed so they can be easily searched across many interfaces. I want to go over some example use cases for different audiences. For example, admins can provide automated training assistance for their new users, explore new and upcoming functionality, and provide a streamlined onboarding experience for all new users of their system. End users can benefit by accessing support resources at any time, unconstrained by communications or process. They can learn independently and at their own pace, and see how the rest of the system works outside of their specific domain. Even collaborators can benefit by reducing the onboarding effort required to get an external user into the system and comfortable with CMiC for the first time. They can easily reference all product documentation and now get direct access to some form of support from CMiC. The Messenger is incredibly easy to use, and this is where you'll access all your help resources directly within CMiC on the web. It's as easy as clicking the launch icon, accessing portal links, or even just directly typing in a question, and you'll get some form of recommendation instantly. Let's take a quick look at how this works in practice. I'm going to take the role of a new CMiC user who wants to enter a few transactions into the system. Upon navigating to the transactions screen, I'm going to have all kinds of features and options available to me. Of course, this can be overwhelming. While I may have had some training during implementation, I might not remember everything, and I might need a quick refresher on the specific process. Depending on what other areas of the system I also need to use in the future, this could be one of many thousands of screens and features that we've built up over the last 40 years. Even our most seasoned users haven't explored every corner of the system. This is normal, but still needs a quick and accurate solution. Instead of digging through one of our large PDF guides, bothering a colleague for help, or logging a case and waiting for follow-up, accessing support is now available on demand. We added a launcher for our messenger in the top console bar. Clicking it will open the messenger. Since I have a specific use case in mind, I'll go ahead and directly ask for some help by creating a new conversation. I can see that there are a few options present to me, but what I'm actually looking for is some guidance. Our options include reporting bugs, suggesting a feature, or by directly typing into the chat bar, you'll be able to get your response quickly. Immediately, our bot will do its best to index our resources and recommend the most accurate help content on our doc portal. We can see here in near instant time that we do have a helpful article about creating transactions. Clicking it will reveal the specific article that relates to my request, which is entering a transaction. This will take me directly to the doc portal where a how-to video describes the entire process. Now that we're on the doc portal, let's take a quick look. The menu bar at the top contains all the relevant subject matter, documentation, guided tutorials, every major release note, and even additional help resources. If you require access to our support portal, it can also be easily accessed from this menu. We're continually rolling out new content and updates to the doc portal. If there's any content missing that you want to see, please let us know. Upon returning to our program, we now see a response asking from the bot what we found was needed. This is what helps train the bot. Additionally, we have some other quick links that can be used if you don't want to do a direct chat. We have full search capabilities to search our knowledge base for relevant help content. And we also have sections that indicate all the latest messages. You can see the CMiC Assist release notes are here, along with some quick links to access our other portals, including our feedback portal, the support portal to log cases, and the entire Assist knowledge base. It's safe to consider the messenger your central communication hub for anything CMiC. One other interaction you might encounter is a prompt upon logging in for the day. At times, we will send out these notices, which can be easily dismissed or ignored entirely. Generally, we will keep these types of messages related to release notices or for a feature showcase upon release. You may also notice a chat bubble pop up on your screen based on what area of the system you're in. These will promote specific features or questions that you can optionally engage with to learn more. Now, to cover Mobile Assist. Much of the chat-based functionality and support tools that are available on web will be mirrored using Mobile Assist. Mobile Assist can be launched by taking a screenshot of any part of the system or by navigating to Settings and pressing Report a Bug. You'll be able to, of course, report a bug, make product suggestions, or simply ask a question without creating a case. For requests that do require escalation, we will take care of that for you and follow up with your system administrator on your behalf. One thing to note is that only CMiC Field R12 and HCM Self-Service are the mobile apps that will support Mobile Assist early on. A few more notes on our documentation portal is that it can be directly accessed if you want to bookmark the site at assist.cmicglobal.com. As mentioned, this will be our new resource hub for all documentation. If you haven't met our documentation team yet, Misty and her team work tirelessly day in and day out to keep up with all of our features that we build throughout the year. They're continually rolling out new features, and what you see on the doc portal is just the start. We have weekly releases of new content, and we want to keep iterating on this to make sure that all areas of the system have some coverage. And for the areas that are a little bit more complicated and that are in high demand, we want to make sure we prioritize these. So please, if there's an area of the system that you need better documentation on, please reach out through Messenger and let us know. Lastly, because we already do have some form of a knowledge base in our support portal, we want to streamline this. And what we're doing is we're going to be decommissioning the knowledge base in the support portal and directing all traffic to this new documentation portal. Before we make any large changes like this, of course, we'll send out a notice, but I wanted to give everyone on this presentation a heads up. We're aiming for a March 17th timeline. Either portal can be used up until this point, but we definitely recommend using the Assist Doc portal as it will contain all the most up-to-date information unless otherwise stated. Now, let's take a quick look at some of the feedback we've been able to get for the project. In the last 3 months, we've seen many conversations, been able to solve many problems within an hour, and had a few speed bumps along the way. With any new experimental feature, we wanted to make sure that this release was fairly controlled, and we kept our users' feedback as a priority. Some of you may have seen our message prompts at work over the last few weeks when we conducted a quick user survey for the experience so far. For those of you that participated, thank you. This survey was a big success, and we will continue to offer these surveys in the future. I'd also like to announce our winner for the $50 Amazon gift card raffle. Albert G at Focus, congratulations, you won for this survey. We'll reach out shortly to send you the prize. Some of the insights we were able to gather from this survey are quite exciting, and I wanted to share this with you. Our average sentiment showed some great interest in the service so far. The general feedback was that our doc portal changes were well received, our response times were faster, and overall usability increased significantly. This isn't good enough though. It is great feedback, but there's still a lot that we can do, and this is just the start. Some of our favorite users elements so far, of course, are the ease of use, the increase in response times, and the video content. We got great reception on this, and we're looking to continue to build out more over the coming months. We also received some feedback where we can definitely make some opportunities happen. The bot-only chat created some solutions, but of course didn't cover all questions. And for users that needed some escalation or a question for our support team, they were cut off and still had to create a ticket on their own. We also got some interesting feedback about focusing on catering content to specific user roles, such as the superintendent, collaborator, or accountant. And of course, just creating more content. There's a lot to cover, and we barely scratched the surface. As our documentation team scales up, we will use all of the conversations we have on Assist, and even the future surveys, to make sure that content's prioritized and released in a timely manner. We also asked in the survey if you could pick only one new feature, what would it be? As you can see, the alarming majority wanted live chat. This now brings us to some announcements I'd like to make about the future of CMiC Assist. Our chatbot has been hard at work collecting and interpreting user requests. Every conversation teaches it how to better handle requests, but that's still not comparable to an actual person. Based on the feedback and some of our tests reaching out to real customers by live chat pretending to be the bot, we are now ready to announce that we will be supporting a Tier 1 support service through Messenger. What this means is that we will have an operator maintaining and responding to questions. who can either directly address them in real time or escalate the request to the correct party on your user's behalf. Please keep in mind that our experienced and technical staff will continue to be focused on case-based resolution for more advanced or priority issues. However, this will enable users to get quick responses and recommendations faster than ever. We're working on an integration with our support portal for case creation as well, so you won't need to recreate a new case if we cannot immediately address a request. Full details and the release date of our live operator will be shared closer to the release. If you want to take a tentative timeline, we're aiming to have it available by the end of the second quarter. Some other less prominent initiatives that I'd like to share is, of course, as I've mentioned, continuing the content rollout, introducing some onboarding flows for new users of the system to get comfortable with the major areas and introduce them to their main stakeholders, whether that's the customer success team, their account manager, or if you're implementing, who your main project coordinator is. Our bot's also getting smarter with every conversation. Each feedback cycle we get based on the article recommendations teaches it what words associate with what content. That's a passive way that we can continue to improve our service. We also saw that there was a gap between content that's specific for collaborators. Because the use cases are mostly honed towards field, we're going to be creating a strategic initiative to create some additional field content with the collaborator in mind, so that when you are bringing new users and partners into the system, they have some added support instead of you having to build out your own documentation to show them how to use and communicate with your team during a project. And of course, as mentioned, the case escalation through a messenger is a big one. We've seen a lot of customers have great conversations with the bot and during our testing phase, the live person, but all of this chat content didn't make it into the ticket. If a ticket was required to be created, we sent a link to the support portal to have the user submit the request. But it's much easier to attach something in a chat window and flesh out some details in real time than it is playing phone tag with a case. So this is why we want to make sure that this entire process is seamless so that we can go from conversation to case quickly. Sharing how we envision this flow to work is as follows. Right now, if a chat is not able to be addressed by our bot, we will automatically respond with a link for users to create a ticket in the support portal. Of course, this is frustrating, as I mentioned, and the double entry is a huge pain. So instead of creating pains, we want to improve on this. When a conversation started, our bot will do its best to recommend a solution, and if it is perfect, that's near instantaneous support that can scale infinitely. You'll get a link to the doc portal, you'll be able to close out the conversation, and we'll consider the request resolved. But you know what? In a lot of cases, that wasn't enough. So now with this tier 1 rep, we'll be able to inject them in this process. And with a live person, they can help parse the request in areas that a bot will never be able to handle. And if they're able to provide a quick fix, awesome. We've now resolved a larger percentage of all of our inbound requests. But of course, our tier 1 rep might not have the experience or the tools in order to properly triage an issue or provide recommendations. And in those cases, we've still had a great history of conversation uncovering the core needs and issues that our customers are involved with. And in these cases, our tier 1 rep will be able to create a case on behalf of the user in the portal, alert any admins or customer contacts that are required, and escalate that ticket to our tier 2 support with more experience in the specific area for followed up resolution. This will also allow our tier 2 reps to get better context of what the problem is, so they then don't have to play phone tag as well. And this whole system will hopefully reduce the time it takes from your initial request to getting the resolution you desire. That's all I have for announcements, a showcase, and a little bit of fun that we had with our survey and the results so far. I hope those of you that have tried CMiC Assist so far have gotten a good use out of it. And if you haven't, please feel free to log a request using Messenger. Like I said, we're always open to feedback, and there's still a lot we'd like to do with this. And your feedback is incredibly important when we decide what comes first. Now I'd like to take some time to open this up to the audience for some questions and answers in areas that we haven't covered during the presentation. Over to you, Nitin.
Thank you, Jeff. So while you're speaking, yes, a few questions have come in. So let me dive straight in. The first one is, if opting into Messenger, will it be restricted to a certain count or by certain number of licensed users?
Yes, so we'll provide detailed responses after the conversation, but a quick answer for this is, if you are on cloud currently and your user counts do not exceed about 5,000 users, it's included as part of your standard license cost. There's no additional fees. For enterprise customers or cloud users with large user counts, we may need to discuss some sort of pricing arrangement, but that will be as an ad-need basis. So a safe assumption to make is that it is free as long as you're a cloud user and paying as a licensed customer.
Okay, and the next question is, can you escalate to certain enterprise users if an answer cannot be determined by the bot or CMiC Live help?
Yes, so I want a few more clarifications here, but I'm going to do my best to answer this off the cuff, and we can always circle back with the individual that asked this. To get a little bit technical is we are able to assign a default admin contact within our support portal so that any case that's logged in our system, that admin contact will basically get a CC. So if you have a user base of 100 and you're the admin for your company, any case logged by those 100 people can be CC'd to you to make sure that you are aware of every request and can jump in as required. Now, that does require us to ask, and you'll have to supply us with the name of this individual, which can be done through our account managers. And if you prefer to be the main point contact before any kind of CMiC communication, that's where we definitely recommend at this time an opt out, because you'll still be able to control the flow, and your users will of course have to go to you as the admin to service the specific question.
Okay, thank you. This is an interesting question about user-generated content. So the question is about, is there a way to link our own articles to the bot if we want them included or prioritized?
Not at this time, because we're focusing on the cloud audience as our primary users for the bot and the article recommendations. We're trying to keep it as generic as possible. So customized workflows, custom screens, of course, would be impossible for us to tackle with such a wide audience. So this is how we're going to be starting the service. There's definitely room to discuss customization, but it's not going to be supported at this time. If you're an enterprise user asking this question, there's a bunch of third-party tools that have been really successful with some users at CMUG, and I'd be more than happy to share some of the strategies that they've used in order to provide customized workflows and documentation as part of a recommendation engine that we can always talk about offline.
Okay, and the next question is with respect to response time. So the question is, what is the response time if after the live chat, they cannot get the answer to the question or cannot get the help in terms of the answer to the question that was posted?
Yeah, absolutely. Because this is still experimental, I can share some of the response times that we've seen as an aggregate, an average of us posing as the bot. We were looking at about less than 6 hour response time, but this would be drastically reduced once we do have a live operator. Because we haven't had anybody full-time managing this queue, I can't make any specific SLAs or specific time responses, but we are aiming to have a response within half an hour of a request during normal business hours. And these levels and any kind of service guarantees will be outlined when we do have formal release documentation and make the announcement for this feature and when it will be released. As far as the webinar goes, I just wanted to make the announcement that this is something that's on our roadmap and we're actively developing. and those logistical details will be shared before the live chat agent is enabled in the platform.
Okay, and the next question is, can Assist be role-based only? And the question is further expanded that can only admins be given access to CMiC Assist?
This is one that's come up a few times. This is something we're evaluating. In a short answer, not currently. It's all in or all out. However, I am interested to explore this a little bit more because we have had a few requests here. So I will coordinate offline and further explore this. If anybody else listening is interested in functionality like this, please send me a message and we can coordinate, because I do believe this is a common request that we would like to be able to support if possible, but may require some modifications in our implementation to support it. So it's a no, but possible in the future.
Okay, and the next question is somewhat related, and I'm sure that Jeff, you would have received this question a few times, maybe over the last 2 or 3 months when you've been having conversations with a spectrum of customers about CMiC Assist. It is why was the choice made to make this tool available to cloud customers and not completely for enterprise customers? But I'm sure that when you presented, you would probably be able to elaborate on some of the use cases for both segments that can make use of this new tool.
Absolutely. So I won't cover things I've already stated during the presentation and part of the comments that I made in a previous question. However, what I will add to that is our enterprise user base and our cloud user base are completely different beasts and have very different needs and uses. And in order to properly service our enterprise customers with thousands of more users on average, we wanted to make sure that that was a quality service that we could roll out and wasn't just slapped together, right? Not to say that our cloud service is slapped together, but because we were able to release it for free, we were able to experiment and learn and improve it to the point where we can offer it to enterprise users with 10 times the scale of cloud. And so over this project, we are looking to provide more services like this to the enterprise space, but we are opening this up to cloud first because they're already more aligned to a software as a service model, as opposed to enterprise, where there's a lot of different ownership requirements and concrete service level agreements in place already. So due to the complexity of enterprise, we needed to start with a smaller segment in order to make sure that we had our ducks in a row before taking on the big leagues. And this strategy is seen predominantly throughout the tech space. And it's the best way that we can provide the highest quality content for everybody based on their audience and segmentation size. So I hope that I was able to add a little bit more detail and you were able to get some of the key points earlier on the conversation. If there's still questions or comments, happy to talk offline. And like I said, enterprise is on the radar. We don't have anything yet, but if this is a priority for you and your team, we can definitely get a conversation started.
Okay, and this is again related in some ways to role-based access, I guess. So the question is, can you notify an admin based on the type of the issue? For example, all field issues and related notifications go to a different admin than all the financial related issues.
We can definitely support a workflow like that. Part of the functionality that's embedded, I will mention this as CMiC Assist, is you can have group chats. So for example, if your user submits a request, we can easily pull in the admin of that account if any kind of configuration is required. And if we're able to work with you to map out what your admin landscape looks like, we can potentially look at automating this further to provide automatic promotion for specific areas. But this is not something that we'd be able to support out of the box. This would definitely be a tangent that is possible, but may not be able to be prioritized immediately.
Okay, and the next question is: does the chat and does the bot functionality that powers it, can it preserve both the content and the context of the chat and the conversation when it is positioned from the chat to maybe a live person in support, so that the whole content and context doesn't have to be repeated?
Absolutely. That's the whole power of CMiC Assist. is that it, as you've very clearly designed, whoever mentioned the question, is that provides context and conversation. So when a conversation is logged, we're able to see which user, of course, logged that information, along with what page they were potentially on, along with if there's any missing details, if we require project information or we require a specific program that's being used that the support team needs to look into, we will request that during the conversation and retain that so that when a case is created, the case automatically has all those required details so that as soon as that case lands in our tier 2 reps' hands, they'll be able to get to work right away at finding a solution rather than further following up and doing their own analysis. So it's going to ideally be a seamless process from request, resolution, and escalation.
Okay, and the next question is about the data. So this person is asking, can they get the data back on what people are asking? It could be on specific topics or certain areas, because this could be useful so we can tailor future trainings if we see certain patterns. I'm sure that when during the design considerations, this was something that was considered, Jeff. So you might want to elaborate on sharing data, or how could we take certain feedback that could help them tailor certain future trainings.
Absolutely. So you guys are on the ball with the potential use cases where this initiative can lead to. And this is something that our customer success team has been interested to provide as well. And we've had a couple of customers reach out and express this. And so far, we're able to share it on an as request basis. There is potential for us to expand this and provide it as a, let's call it an analytics plus experience, where you're not only able to get analytics on your own data, but you're able to get analytics on the usage as well. And this is something that we can definitely look at rolling out if there is sufficient demand, and it has been something we've been investigating. But because it is a little bit more complex, we're now working with data, exposing data. Of course, there's privacy considerations that need to be considered and addressed. It was something that we didn't prioritize for the initial release. So if this is a priority for you in your instance, please contact me. I'd love to get the conversation going. And if we can prioritize it in the near future, it would be a great future development.
It certainly will be. And the next question is CMiC Assist available to collaborators and project partners, or is this something that's available only to CMiC licensed users?
Everybody on your tenant. So whether you are an internal licensed user, whether you hold an enterprise or field license, whether you're a mobile user or even a partner or collaborator, they will have full access to CMiC Assist if you are opted in. There's no specific support for collaborators, which I mentioned in our future developments. And that's where we want to do a better job, as maybe paring down some of the content and streamlining it so that collaborators only really are able to view collaborator-related content. But right now, yes, we are supporting collaborators. And when we bring live agents in, collaborators will also have some form of support, but they will not be prioritized over licensed customers.
Okay. And just extending on that, so would they need similar login credentials, or would there be a different kind of a licensing structure or something like that to access the tool?
So to clarify, I'm speaking strictly for cloud right now. Where it comes to licensing additional fees, nothing. What you see is what you get, no additional fees. All of the costs and investments we've made on this are purely eaten by us. If we do offer a paid service in the future, we will make sure to make it clear what the costs would be and what the additional services for a premium package would look like. But at this time, everything you've seen is absolutely free for you and all of your collaborators, as long as you're under 5,000 users total. And we're able to easily track that. And from what we've seen so far, there's nobody that's even come close to that. So I would say no major concerns, nothing to be concerned about. If things do end up becoming paid or a pay-to-play approach in the future, we'll make sure it's very clearly known what's free and what would be that upgraded feature set.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. And we are right on the hour. So I would like to thank everyone for attending today's session. I'm sure that you found this session valuable. I'm sure that you would start increasing your adoption and usage of CMiC Assist, and I'm sure that you would see you would be able to get more value out of it in terms of your day-to-day operations. This session was also recorded, so we will be sending a follow-up communication with a link to the recording. Please feel free to share it with your colleagues who may not have been able to attend. And if you have any questions, as Jeff mentioned in the beginning of this webinar, feel free to reach out to us through your account manager, or you can raise a ticket for the support portal. Again, thank you all for attending and have a great day ahead.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.